how young girls are trained to follow the patriarchy. Welcome to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. My name is Wendy McClure, and it's time we had a conversation about living in a patriarchy and how that affects our lives. Together, we can make a difference and change the conversation. Welcome, and I thank you for being here today. I want to applaud you and give you all of the credit in the world for being here, for being willing to delve into this very uncomfortable conversation, having to tear away the things that we have been taught our entire lives and realizing that we've, in a sense, been duped to be a certain way to fit a narrative that was constructed for us before we were even born. Because these conversations are not easy. They can make you feel uncomfortable, and they can make you feel very sad and disappointed. But once you start to tear away all of this conditioning, you can find the true, real version of you inside. And you can then start being that person. The one that you have meant to be all along. And that's when you will feel the satisfaction, the fulfilling satisfaction of your life, and everything will start to fall into place. Unfortunately, it's not something that happens overnight. It takes work. It takes conversations. It takes journaling. It takes being introspective. But it is all worth it. That I can guarantee you. So today we're talking about how, as girls, we are trained to follow the patriarchy from the very beginning. The very beginning. And one of the things that they do right away is to, designate one color to a girl, designate another color to a boy, so that not only the family members know how to treat them accordingly, but the world at large. Because we know that little girls and little boys are spoken to completely differently. Maybe not when they're a child, but we're going to, mark them immediately so that we know how we're going to treat them. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to seem a little far-fetched. It's going to seem like a reach. But the more you put some thought into it, the more you realize that it is the truth. For example, you see a little girl in a cute little dress. I don't know, let's say she's 2 years old. And, she's all dressed up. She's got the frilly dress and the frilly socks and the cute little Mary Jane shoes. And what do you say to her? Typically, what do you say to, the little girl? Oh, you look so pretty. Yes. Right away, the thing that we are saying, the compliment that we are giving is about how they look. But we never do that to little boys. When we are talking to little boys, we are talking to them about their characteristics, about who they are, what they do. For example, girls are described as, sweet and nice, sugar and spice and everything nice. And boys are encouraged to be brave. Be brave. Be brave. Overcome your fear and do it anyway. Where girls are just being told to be nice, to be sweet, and are being rewarded for looking a certain way. So this is one of the first things that starts to get embedded in us as we are growing up. And in turn, what that does is it makes girls feel like they have to be a certain way, have to look a certain way in order to be accepted. That if you're not looking in a way that somebody's saying, oh, you look so pretty, then you don't get those compliments and you don't get to feel good about yourself, because this is the way it works. You get compliments when you are a girl about how you look, but when you are a boy, you get complimented for how you act. Again, we are in a different time, and I know that things are changing, and I am grateful for that. But a lot of us have already had this conditioning imprinted on us, and it's very hard to figure out what was conditioning and what is what we truly want to do with our lives. So when girls are made to feel like they have to be perfect, this goes back to how we dress, how we do our hair, the makeup that we use. We have to be the perfect size, which we know in this society is very small. We teach girls from the get-go, we like our women small in this country, and it's so much more than size. When we're trying to make women small, we're trying to let them know that they don't matter as much because they're women. Their opinion doesn't matter as much because they're women. And this is so ingrained in girls right from the get-go that they often won't even try at something if there's a chance they're going to be wrong, because they are so focused on trying to be absolutely perfect, which of course is impossible. Where boys are taught the exact opposite. Be brave. Even if it's scary, do the right thing. Be brave. So that's encouraging boys to reach outside of their own comfort zones to attempt to do the right thing. Be brave. There was a study that was done between young girls and young boys. They were around 10 years old, and they were being taught how to code for computers. And, they had given an assignment, same assignment to the girls and to the boys. And when the teacher had gone over to the girls' side, she had seen one girl who had absolutely nothing on her screen in front of her. And so it appeared that for 20 minutes, she was just staring at a computer screen, frozen, not knowing what to do. But what the teacher did was she kept hitting the back button. And she found that the girl had actually done a lot of the coding work. And she said to her, well, why did you erase all of this work that you've done? She said, because I was afraid it was wrong. So we are encouraging girls to not even try, that they would rather look like they haven't even tried than to appear wrong. Now think about that. Think about that in terms of boys. We keep telling boys to keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. And somehow by 10 years old, girls are not even attempting. She did attempt to try, but then she wasn't sure, so she erased it all. She was so afraid of not being perfect, of getting the answer wrong. And this goes on throughout your lifetime. When a woman is looking for a job, she likely will not apply for a job unless she has 100% of the qualifications that are spelled out on that job. Men will apply for the job if they have 60% of the qualifications. Why do you think that is? Women think they have to be perfect. Men know they don't have to be perfect. This is just one of the many things that are taught to us as we are growing up. We are also told as girls, as part of the sweet and nice, is to be respectful. You must be respectful, especially to your elders. Be respectful. And that can be dangerous for young girls. They could lead them to a situation that their intuition and inner knowing tells them is a bad situation. But yet this overriding, norm of being respectful is making her ignore that. And an example of that is somebody had said the one time, only a human being would be standing at an elevator door, and when the door opens up, gets a bad feeling about the person they see inside of it. They get a bad feeling about that person. Only a human being will continue to step into that metal box, basically soundproof, and it can be stuck or stopped at any point anyway. Because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, because we don't want to appear to be disrespectful. Instead of just saying, you know what, go on, I'm going to grab the stairs. Or go on, I'm going to wait for the next one. Or just saying, oops, I forgot something, got to run back. Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about it like that. You're putting yourself in a situation in a soundproof box that can be stopped. And you don't know what can happen inside of there. Complete stranger. Happens all the time. But we are taught that respect and kindness is more important than our intuition. And our intuition, when tuned into it, knows when a bad situation arises. You can feel it. So, that is what I'm trying to say when we are constantly telling our girls to be respectful. Now, I know that boys are taught to be respectful as well, and there are dangers for them as well. But once they grow up, the dangers are not as severe for them as they can be for women. I know boys are taken advantage of when they are young. I know that. Horrific and horrible, and I wish it didn't happen. And it happens to girls as well. But as women grow up, they still, into adulthood, have to worry about being followed, being stalked, being sexually assaulted, all kinds of things that predominantly men do not have to worry about. Is that the case every time? Of course not. But women have much more safety issues than men do. And this starts by teaching them to be respectful just for the fact that certain people are owed respect, like respecting your elders. Let's take a look at girls' toys versus boys' toys. And again, Gen X are here. I know toys are a lot different now than when I was growing up, but I think that a lot of times girls are still given dolls. We're given dolls to be the mother, to learn how to take care of a baby, put that idea in their head right away. You want to be the mom. You want to take your baby. You want to have your baby. This is what we do. This is how we teach girls to play. We're training them and conditioning them to want to be a mother. We have toys for them that are like kitchen sets and ovens and vacuum cleaners. These are the things that girls get to play with, where boys have stuff that has nothing to do with what their position in life is. They get to play ball and use blocks and do the, Legos things and build things. And there's such a disparity between the types of toys there are for boys versus for girls. And again, I know that toys look a lot different now than they used to. So, and it's not all one or the other, of course, but how many boys were getting dolls? Well, most of the time, none of them were. And if they even gravitated towards one, most parents would be like, no, boys don't play with dolls. So not only is that something that they're not allowed to do as children, it's supposedly, some sort of stigma if a little boy wants to play with a doll, but it gives them the idea right away that they aren't supposed to be taking care of babies. That's not what they do. That's what the girls do. Let's get into fairy tales. This is a terrible one. We are fed these fairy tales and these Disney movies, and I love them just as much as the next person. But there's always a princess that needs to be saved, and there's always a prince that comes along and does the saving. And these are stories that are shaping the way that we think about boy-girl relationships from the time that we're very, very young. And most of the time, the women need saving and the men are doing the saving. So that's why it seems so normal for patriarchy to work, because this is what they're being shown. This is what they're being taught from the time that they're very young. There are some now Disney movies where this is not the case, and we are making progress. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't like that progress, and they're trying to take us backwards. They're trying to make it so that we have erased all of the progress that we have made in the last couple of decades and put us right back where we were, the ladies, to solely being a mother, a housewife, and to be there for whatever her man needs. Yeah, that's what they want. So what can we do now? Knowing this information, what can we do now? Well, let's think about how you've been encouraged to be perfect. Have you felt that? I can imagine that just about every woman in this country has felt that on some level, probably for most of their lives. You have to look amazing, and you have to do the makeup and the hair every day. You got to put on the jewelry. You got to wear nice clothes. You've got to do this every single day. And granted, men are supposed to look presentable as well, but how much do they have to do as compared to what we have to do? They have a short hairdo. They really basically just wash and it dries on its own. They run a comb through it, and then they throw on some clothes. We have a lot more that is expected of us. And if we decide that we're not going to do that, say, you decide one day you're not going to wear makeup anymore. Well, there will be some judgment. So just be prepared for that. And I rarely wear makeup anymore. I don't really go anywhere that I need to wear makeup for, to be honest with you. But there are going to be people that judge you, especially in your younger years. There's this expectation that women are going to try and look as good as possible. And when people don't do that, well, they get judged harshly for it. And, especially when you're young, you just want to belong. You just want to be part of a group and to be accepted. So that's when, even after the things that were being taught as young children, when you get to adolescence, you want to do anything that you can to be part of a group, to be accepted. And you don't care if you're accepted for who you are. You'll do whatever it is that you think will get you accepted. And that's being a teenager, but hopefully we get older and wiser and we realize that things aren't always as they seem when we were younger. We get smarter. We realize that a lot of times we've been fed a line. We've been told some things because it benefited others, being men. Women are not encouraged to share their opinion, to say when they're upset. Women are not allowed to be emotional. I could go on and on and on. I am trying to stick to the particular topics I have for today. So think about all the times you've been encouraged to be perfect. The perfect weight, the perfect grades, the perfect performance at work, pressure from social media to have it all together, be the perfect mother, yet the perfect person at work as well. Have it all done and look great while you're doing it. Yeah, it's hard. Think about all those times that you felt that way. And think about how it would have been had you not put that much pressure on yourself. I say stop being nice when people aren't nice to you. Yes, we want kindness in the world. You start out with kindness. But if somebody is disrespecting you, I say you tell them, I'm sorry, you don't treat me that way. Easier said than done, I understand. But you need to stop letting people disrespect you for the sake of disrespecting you. If somebody is not being kind to you, you don't owe them kindness in return. Figure out what and who you truly are after stripping away everything that the patriarchy has forced on you. And this is something that will take time. You have to look at all of the aspects that you have been fed time and time again throughout your life as your role in this society. I personally felt enormous pressure to get married. I didn't get married until I was 41. So that I was, the oldest of the old maids. And I may have put more of the pressure on myself than even society did, but I just felt it. I felt it constantly, the judgment. What is wrong with her? Why can't she keep a man? All of that kind of stuff where, I focused on my career. Thank goodness I had a good career path that I could concentrate on. And not everybody has that. Some people just go to work. They don't necessarily want a career. And then they're left feeling even more lost and alone because they may not have anything that they're striving toward at that point. So we have to stop demanding that women should want to get married and have babies. We have to stop saying to the little girls in our lives, well, when you grow up and get married, we have to stop doing that. Because we want them to figure out what they want to do on their own. So once you can start to strip away all of these things that we have been conditioned to believe and conditioned to act in a certain way, then you can find the real, true you. Then you can just be you. You can speak for you. You can stand for you. You can advocate for you. You can be proud of you. You can do what it is you have always wanted to do, but we're too afraid to speak up. You can discover things that you never thought about before because you were never encouraged to. This is a time of self-exploration. This is a time when you can start to look at things in a different way. Maybe you do love cooking. Maybe you love to cook. Don't throw that away now because it's part of the patriarchy. You can cook. That's fantastic. But it's not what you were put here for. Unless, that's what you want to be put here for. So just start to open up your mind a little bit, open up your eyes a little bit, and start looking at things in just a little bit of a different way and start looking at things you've never looked at before that may have been an interest to you, but you push back for whatever reason. Because once you become the true version of yourself, that is when you feel it. And that's what I am hoping and trying to do for you each and every week, is to, in spite of all of this conditioning that we have had, of all of these things that have been forced on us throughout our lifetime, that we can still find a way to strip it all away, to delve into who we truly are underneath it all, no matter how long we have kept it hidden, and bring it out and be who we always wanted to be, who we've always meant to be, and live happily ever after. Or so I hope, right? But it's going to be a lot better to discover yourself than to keep on putting up this role that has been created for you. And it's not too late. It's not too late. Better late than never. Start doing the work and start seeing the results and getting your reward, which is a rewarding life. That's what I want for each and every one of you. If you like today's episode, I encourage you to please leave me a review. This really helps to get the podcast out to a broader audience that will help more people discover it. If you like today's episode, go ahead and copy the link for the episode and just share it with a friend or share one of my social media posts. And if you're not following me on social media, hello, what is wrong with you? I am on Facebook, I am on Instagram, I am on TikTok, and I am also on LinkedIn. You can find me under The Hopefulist or Wendy McClure. One of those places is going to have one or the other. So I thank you once again for being here. I celebrate you for diving in and for attempting to deconstruct this person that the patriarchy is forcing you to be without your knowledge, without you even realizing it. So go on out there this week and be badass. I know that you can live a life that matters, and I am always here cheering you on. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Together, we are better. Please visit my website at hopefulist.com and remember to hit that subscribe or follow button.